What's up, everybody? This video is more for the beginners. It's since the FDA won't allow people to or allow employees to change out coils for people and show them how to. I'm gonna show you how to change out a coil and prime it, and go over a couple little things that you need to know about vaping, and that'll be about it for this video. But we're going to be putting some coils in the iJust 2 tank. Excuse me, I've got sinus and allergy problems right now, driving me crazy. Alright, first off, I'm going to unscrew the base. If the one you have, if it's tight to unscrew, try to grab onto some metal. Try not to ever grab onto the glass. Unscrew this. And normally right here you have a coil. I done took the coils out of here. It's burnt, and I want to clean these out and then be clean for the video. But I'll show you what that looks like. And for these iJust 2 tanks, I suggest actually running the spiral coils for like the Triton or the Atlantis tanks. They get a little better flavor and seem to work better. But this is how it looks whenever you unscrew this from this originally, when you got a coil in it, and then your coil's bad. Normally you can look down in here, down in that little canal right there, and you can't really tell in this video, but it's just a little wire in there and it spirals. When they get burnt, it turns black and kind of charred up. Simple fix. All you do is take it apart, and then right here's your coil. You just unscrew it. It's basically like a little spark plug. Just unscrew it, throw it away, get a new one. I always turn it back like a half a turn and then thread it. That way you don't ever cross thread nothing. I always do that with anything you thread. Keeps you from cross threading anything. Alright, now to prime your coil, we are going to use first some Drip Treats Blueberry Pleasure. And all you do for this is to prime the coil. You just put a few drops down in the middle of it. Let me see if I can show you this. I'll do this the best I can. And we're just putting a few drops down in here. And then one thing I like to do is hit all those little cotton spots on the outside. When I mean cotton spots, any little circle that you see that's white, that's cotton. You want to make sure you saturate all your cotton as good as you can, because if you don't, whenever you hit the button, the fire button, it will scorch that cotton and it ruins your coil. The coil itself might be okay, but the cotton's scorched and you'll never get that scorched taste out of it. Okay, now let's see here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let me put one more drop in here. I kind of flood mine. Here's the thing, if you put a little too much, it's always better to put too much than not enough. If you put too much, and if you start having juice come out the air holes, just unscrew your coil and just fling it out. And the same thing with your coil. You fling it like that, and it'll get any juice out of that canal. Now we got some saturated cotton and no juice in the canal. I should have brought some paper towels for this, but I didn't. But luckily I got this rag. Alright, now we're going to fill the tank. And for those that don't know how to do this, down the side here, there's two little slits. You just put your juice down in one side and the other side, allow to kind of tilt it. That's what I do, so it allows any air bubbles or anything to come out the other hole. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, now we're going to screw the base back into the tank. Always keep your tank still upside down so you don't spill your juice everywhere. And we're going to screw it together. Not too tight, just kind of snug until it stops. Bang. Alright, here's one thing I like to do before I ever do put any power to the coil. I like to close off the air holes and kind of just pull on it without ever sending any power to it. These iJust2s, they have a little silicone airflow adjuster. So we're going to slide this on. All the air holes are covered. That's open, closed, all the way around. Okay, now I'm just going to pull on it. Barely open it after I pull on it once. Just leave a real tiny little hole. And what you're doing is you're pulling the juice from the chamber into the coil itself instead of allowing all this airflow to just shoot up through the middle of the coil into your mouthpiece. It just forces more juice into the coil itself so you don't scorch it. Alright. Screw that on here. And one other thing. Here's the coils that we're using. They're the Spire Triton 0.3 ohm coils. I'm going to open one up because I got to do another tank. And here's the coil. These say says 0.3 ohm coil, and it says the range is 45 to 55 watts max power. So even though you can run them that high whenever you first prime your coil, I don't suggest it. I normally run them about half of what they say to run. So we're going to start off at about 20 watts and then we'll work our way up. Crank this down. Okay. Well. Check atomizer. Okay. Now you get to run in. We're going to run into a little problem and solve it. You might have this problem at home, so we're going to solve it. If you ever get a screw on a tank, brand new, everything, and it says check atomizer. More than likely, your coil has came a little bit loose. Check your connections. That's all it is. It's something in the connection. Something's not making the right connection. So it gets this screwed back together. Okay. Now she's working. Take a couple of small puffs at first, kind of break that coil in a little bit. Open airflow up a little bit more. Crank up the power up to about 25. Let's crank it on up to about 35 now. And what I would do is I would vape that for probably about 10 or 15 minutes like that, and then crank it up to the 45 to 55 watts that the coil recommends. If you have any leakage problems, a lot of times it's because you're not running the coil at the recommended wattage that it says to run it at. Always look at your coils and see what they say on them, just like I showed you on that 0.3. It said range 40, I believe it's 45 to 55 watts. That's what it's recommended to run it at. You know, kind of in the 40, more or less in the 40 to 53 watt range to be safe. And you're going to get the best vaping experience for that coil. Excuse me, sorry about that. Like I said, my allergies and stuff's going crazy, so I've had a lot of congestion lately. Alright, let's crank it on up a little bit more. And there you have it, a perfectly primed coil. That tastes good, doesn't it? Let's crank it on up to 55. Flavor's still good. I think I liked it better at about 45. These IJust2 tanks, they're hard to beat. They're cheap, and you can run Aspire coils in them. I like to run the Clapton coil, the 0.5 Clapton coil, the Aspire Clapton coils in them also. Those work great, and just all around good tank. It's got wide open airflow. Normally I don't run those airflow rings on them. I guess they're there for the people that runs like the 1.8 ohm coils or something that needs a tighter restricted pull, but I don't really use that. We're gonna go ahead and prime out this other tank or prime out this other coil and replace the coil, and then that'll be the end of this video. I'm gonna do this one kind of quick, but the exact same tank the exact same coil. I'm just using a different flavor of drip treats. Alright. I'll screw it into the base. Oh, see, I didn't go backwards. It didn't fall right in. Backwards. Perfect. And these 0.3 ohm sparkles, they work really good as far as soaking up and priming good. The cotton in them, it's pretty loose. It's got big holes, 4 big holes for the juice to come into. They just work good. Now the E-leaf coils that comes with the iJust 2, they're pretty beast mode, but if you like more cloudage, I would say go with the iJust 2 coils. If you want more flavor, I would say the Spire coils. And the reason being said is because the 0.3 iJust 2 coil, I think you can run it like 60-70 watts, and these 0.3 ohm coils only say run them at like 40 or 45 to 55, so big difference. But there's a big difference in flavor too. Okay. Also, instead of doing all this, shutting the air holes off and all that, you can also just put those few drops in there, screw your tank on, and just let it sit for about 30 minutes. It does the same thing, but if you're in a hurry and you want to hurry up and vape, and this one's doing the flooding thing I'm talking about. So now I'm going to show you how to deal with that. I'm glad I'm having these little issues right now. So you at home, and hopefully most of you that's watching this is watching it because you need to learn how to change a coil or something like that. But some of these issues that I'm running across right now is simple issues that I have people come in the shop all the time asking me, and now the FDA won't let us tell or help them, so now I gotta make me a video so people can see how to do it. Alright, here was our problem. This had a bunch of juice down in it, and this was pretty flooded. Fling out that juice. Turn, thread it, turn, thread it, okay. Okay, now we're having the same issue with this one. I must be tightening these things up. The coil's too tight, or not tight enough. Sometimes whenever you're screwing these things like this too, screwing them and unscrewing them, that'll happen. Your coil will come out. It happens not just with these coils, it happens with the E-leaf coils also. Put that in there one more time. Screw this together. And vape. Turn the wattage back down. Get that airflow ring. I got so much juice in my hand I can't hardly turn this silicone thing. Alright. And there you go. 2 tanks, new coils, primed coils. Ran into some minor issues that anybody can have, and showed you the simple little whatever you want to call them, fixes for them, I guess you call them. Like I said, it's mainly just connections. A lot of times when you're screwing that stuff together, those O-rings and stuff on the coils, well, they keep it from just sitting ungodly tight together, and it does keep it cushioned a little bit. So whenever you're screwing something else to the top part of it, it does tend to loosen it up sometimes. So sometimes you just gotta unscrew them, open them back up, and tighten your coil down, and screw your tank back onto it to the base, and it'll work. Let's take another puff. One more thing before I go. Talk about batteries. If you are using a device that takes 18650 batteries, which is these batteries right here, this one, this one, this one, they come in all different kinds of looks and styles. There's a lot more than this out there, but this is just a few of them that I grabbed for the video. Okay, this battery, see the wrap on it? Everything's good. That white ring is your insulator. That's the main thing you got to have on this battery besides the wrap. Like, the wrap could tear at other places, but this is the main part. Now, don't get me wrong. If your wrap tears and stuff, you need to go get it rewrapped. They're cheap. Just get it done. But this insulator, if you lose that insulator, if it's wrapped, tears and you lose that insulator, it don't matter if you go get it rewrapped. If you don't have that insulator, you're screwed. So be careful with those. Here's another just fancier looking version. You can tell on top of it, same thing. And as you can tell, the wraps on it are in good condition. No tears, nothing. Okay, now this battery, even though it's still probably okay to use, I wouldn't suggest a newbie, as they say, anybody fresh to vaping, I wouldn't suggest them using one until they got it wrapped, just to be safe. Me personally, I've used it, but I know a little bit more about what I'm doing. As you can tell, the top of it's starting to tear, and it's got little cuts in the top of it. And the bottom's got a couple, but mainly it's the top part. Battery wraps normally no more than a couple bucks a piece at the most. They're real simple. You just slide it on here and then take a blow dryer to it. Don't let your battery get real hot. Just take the blow dryer, hit it a couple times, pull it off or pull it away, let it cool down, hit it a couple times, and till your wrap shrinks perfectly on there. I wish I would have brought one so I could have showed you how that. There we go. That's going to be another video. I'm going to rewrap some batteries, so that'll be another one of my safety videos. I'm going to try to make some safety videos for everybody new to the vaping industry, and teach y'all how to be safe and how to use your devices and stuff. FDA ain't going to let us do it in the shops, so I'm at home. So what I do at my own time is me. I don't own no shop. I don't own no vape businesses. So I'm nothing as far as any of that's concerned. So they shouldn't be able to say nothing to me as far as changing out some of my personal coils and videotaping it. So anyways, I hope this video might help some people on priming their coils and changing them out, and running across some little trial and error problems that you might run across, and how to solve them. It's pretty good. But I guess that's going to be the end of this video. Hope everybody enjoys it, and if you have any questions, if you need any help with anything, comment below and I'll try to help you the best I can. I might not know everything, but I can definitely keep you safe. So everybody have a good night, peace out, and one last puff for the night.